Come all you rounders if you want to hear story about a brave engineer. Casey Jones was a rounder's name. On a 6-8 wheel of boys he won his fame. Call Casey.
Hey there, my name's David Mays, your host for this edition of a show I call Along the Model Railroad Line, where we talk about the subject of model railroading, the various things you do in this hobby. Obviously building trains, but also scenery, other things, learn about the history of railroading, and occasionally you can look at what the prototype railroads are doing. What I'm going to do with this video is going to do a little demonstration of how I'm going to take care of some scenery right here along the edge of this bench work, kind of the edge of the world. Got some scenery over here already done, but I want to go ahead and finish this off, partly because I think it'll look nice, and also I want to use this switching layout that I'm building to demonstrate things for these videos, kind of make videos about the various things I'm doing. And like I said, what I'm going to do is do a little video, talk about how I'm going to finish off this layout edge, again, the edge of the world. So with that, I invite you all to climb aboard and we'll take another trip along the model railroad line. Okay, let me take a few minutes to kind of describe what we got here, tell you a little bit about my switching layout. Like I said, it's a switching layout, something I've been working on for a while. It's inspired by a design called an Inglenook. This is a type of switching layout somebody in England came up with, pretty simple. And I'm just kind of doing a enlarged version. The layout itself is L-shaped. The part that's kind of behind the camera right now is about 8 feet long by 2 feet wide, divided into two 4-foot long sections. And this section here is a foot wide and it's 4 feet long, so it's actually 6 feet from the corner over there. Plus, I added on this foot long section right here. Now, the original design, like I said, this part would have just been 4 feet long, but looking at it, I just said, no, that's still a little short. But I didn't want to rebuild the whole thing. Besides, this layout is designed with at least the theoretical ability to be taken apart and taken places. So I like someday I'll finish up a little bit so I can take the train shows, other events. But again, I decided this part was a little short, so I made this little foot-long section right here, bolted it on, got the shelf support right here, which also doubles as a brace for the legs that are underneath here. Got everything bolted together. Real quick story, the wood that's made of this blue stuff you see here, I'll show you a little piece right here. Let's get that in front of the camera. There you go. Real quick story is, years ago, I worked for a retail company, working in the store, doing stock work and maintenance work, and worked there for many years. Some of you may know the old Wieners store, Wieners Incorporated, used to be in the Houston area. And again, this is years ago. They were doing some remodeling in the store, and they had these valances all along the wall, hanging off these metal frames where you had the clothes on display. And a couple of workmen took all those valances down. They're made out of actually some good quality plywood. This is 5-ply plywood, actually good stuff. But they're all like 8 feet long. So they took them all down and cut off a 3-inch wide strip off of all of them, and then just threw them away. So I, being kind of the scavenger at heart that I am, made sure to set aside some of those strips of wood they cut off, and then after I got off work, went around the back of the store by the dumpster with my big van I was driving at the time and just loaded them all in. And I ended up like 30 pieces of this, again, 8 foot long by 1 by 3 lumber. And so, hey, I've got to take some of that. So I brought them home, so got made out like about 12 pieces left, been using them for bench work like on this layout and some other projects. And so that's kind of what the story behind that. And of course, other things, the way this layout's built, got again the framework, got probably about 1/4-inch plywood here, and then this probably about 1/2-inch styrofoam, insulation board. A lot of people like to use 2-inch thick, styrofoam or extruded styrofoam, but it's hard to get in this part of the country. But for my purposes, this 1/2-inch was plenty. And just kind of cut it up, screwed it together. The plywood's held down to the frame with screws and wood glue, and of course the styrofoam is getting just put down with liquid nails or some sort of caulking adhesive. And then on top of that, of course, got the scenery I've been working on. Right here is a road, a simulated concrete road, which I've talked about in a previous video. And of course, got the other scenery back here. The blue thing, that's just a piece of blue poster board I got hung up there right now. It's not, kind of see how it looks. Eventually, I'll come up back with some sort of backdrop for this. But what I want to talk about, though, is how I'm going to deal with this little strip right here. Between the road and the edge of the world. Got a couple ideas. I'll just show you how I'll do it. So, now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you how I'm going to fill in this gap right here. Right here between the edge of the edge of the world and the pavement. What I'm going to do is, I got this piece of thin styrofoam, beadboard. It's something probably came out some packaging, for something I bought last year or whenever. And what I'm going to do, I could measure this. I got a ruler here. I'm going to measure it out. But in practice, the actual width does vary a little bit along this edge. But if I don't mind doing a little bit of gymnastics, there's an easy way to fix that. I'm going to take the styrofoam and carefully lay it here on the edge. Like that, kind of get it lined up right here. This is the joint between the two sections of the layout, so I want to make sure you can still get access to that. But take my Sharpie pen and reach under here and just carefully run the pen along the edge of the styrofoam, along here, along the edge right there. And there you go. Got that nice little line. Now what I'm going to do next, put the pen away so I don't mark something by accident with it. Got my handy box knife, and get these at most hardware stores. The blade gets dull, you break the little piece off the end. And what I'm going to do is, now I may have to do this off camera because I need some sort of a surface to push this against. Right here. If I'm very careful about this, I can show you here. So, playing with a knife. Just take that. Now, ideally, you probably should do this on a flat surface, but I'm trying to do this where you can see what's going on. Let's do it. Just take that knife and just carefully draw along that line. So just bring that out close. Now, if there is an issue, use this type of styrofoam. It's got all the little beads, so you might get some beads flying around. That's why some people prefer using the extruded for most stuff, which is good, and most times that's why I do. See with the scenery up here, but for something like this, as long as I'm careful a bit with it, the beads popping off shouldn't be a problem. I just push this over here, get it out of the way, put the knife aside. Next thing I'm going to do, I got this nice little strip of styrofoam, which should kind of just sit there. Got a nice fit, almost custom fit. Now, I do got this little piece hanging off the end, so what I'm going to do, again, careful with the knife, just carefully come over here and just kind of slice through it. Again, keep an eye where your fingers are. And there we go. Let's see. Let's do that. Just push that there. Just slice through, and there you go. Little piece just popped off. Now it fits just fine. Again, I may need to do a little more trimming later, but it'll work. Now the next thing, just lift it up, set that there for right now. Gotta glue it on. And for joints like this, I find that just using old wood glue works just fine. Yeah, you could use something like liquid nails or adhesives, something safe for use with styrofoam. But in my experience, especially with something like this where it's not like a joint that's under stress or something, just regular wood glue will work. It may take longer for it to dry. That's the only main downside. I mean, if you're using this on something like wood or paper, the pores in the wood will help to draw off the moisture out of the glue and help it dry faster. Whereas with the styrofoam, of course, it doesn't work that way. There's still some grit or some texture there which the glue can still grab a hold of. Like I said, the only downside is just take longer. And to apply the glue, I'm just going to use cheap cheap paintbrush. You get these, package them for a dozen, at the hardware store or whatever. I would say I could just squirt it on, but this nozzle had something got caught in the nozzle. So I can't really squirt through there. And like I said, this will work. And again, I'll go wash the brush later, but just dip the brush in there and then just spread it on like that. A little dab will do you. Let's do that like that. Careful you don't drip any. I don't got old carpeting here in the room I'm using for the layout. Well, I may eventually want to replace the carpeting. I don't want to mess it up. Let's just do like that. Just gonna spread it on there. There you go. Alrighty. Just dab a little more there. There you go. Alright. A little dab will do you. I'll just set this aside for right now. Here's put the cap back on. And here, a little bit dripped out. It's gonna just, yeah. Okay. Alrighty. Put that aside. We'll rinse out the brush. Rinse the brush out here in a minute. Take that strip of styrofoam and just press it on there. There you go. Alright, kind of like that. And let's give that a chance to dry. And what's happening here, of course, this does fill in that gap. But there's still a little bit of a step right there. Because later on in this video, I've got to take something like some paper mache or something to put in there. So I'll do that here in a few minutes. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to kind of take a little break from filming, let this dry and do something else. And then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here on this facing. Because I want to put something all over this wood, this wooden styrofoam, get a more finished look. So, be right back. Okay, back again. Show you what I'm going to do next. What I want to do is I want to cover this side of the framework, bench work, with something and give it, paint it some sort of dark color, kind of give it a more finished look. And I want it to, in this specific case, because I want it to fit on this one section here, about a foot long, and this measures out about around 4.5 inches tall. Here, let's take a quick look. From the bottom of the piece of wood right there, the 1x3 to up here, the top edge of the styrofoam works out to about 4.5 inches. Now, there's a couple of ways I could do that. Maybe an ideal way, maybe a sheet of hardboard, masonite would work. Honestly, I'd probably just paint that whole thing and it'd be okay. But I want to have a little bit of a finished look to it. What I decided to do, again, like I said, I used to work at the retail store, and again, being a scavenger I am, found something else there that I decided to use. May not have some trouble seeing. It's kind of this thing's it's kind of big, so I'm not going to try and get the whole thing in the picture. But basically, what we got here is a sign advertising something we were selling at the time. In this case, I guess it was some shoes, LA Gear, wherever that was. Shoes, and again, like I say, Wieners. That's what I used to work for. And they used to have these signs hanging from the ceiling, advertising things or showing you what department you're in. And what you got here is actually some styrene, some sheet styrene, polystyrene. Basically, this stuff, you got to, go to a hobby shop and you buy these little packages of it, and here's this big 2x4 sheet that they were just going to throw away. And again, grab them, brought them home. Probably got about a dozen sheets. So what I'm going to do is I'll take some measurement. The measurement basically is 4.5 inches wide by 12 inches long. I'm going to cut a piece out of this plastic that matches that size, and then fit it on here. I'll drill holes through it because I want to still have access to these bolt heads, and then paint it some sort of dark color. So again, I'm going to step away from the camera for a few minutes so I can go do that. Definitely want to have some sort of a flat surface to cut this on. And that, give me a few minutes, we'll be right back. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Like I said, cut off the piece of plastic out of the chute I showed you. So here it is now. It's a foot long by 4.5 inches wide. Nice color yellow, but it's not what I'm going to use. So eventually what I'm going to do is, of course, I'm going to glue this up here on the edge of the layout. I actually got to paint it first, then glue it. But a little thing I want to do first before I do any of that is I want to cut some holes in here for these couple of bolt heads. I want to be able to get access to those. And as various things I can do to figure out where to drill the holes. You know, take measurements, get out the measuring tape, things like that. But what I'm going to try, a little trick I've done elsewhere and seen done elsewhere. Take a little bit of paint. Now this just happens to be some dark brown craft paint. And just take a little bit, obviously careful with it, you know, don't spill it or anything. Take our brush again, dip down in there, and just kind of paint on top of that bolt head. Try to get a little bit on there, a little messy. Do the same thing in this one. There you go. Then put this aside. I'll again rinse the brush out here in a minute. Let's see. Set that there. And then take the plastic. So this is the side's going to be out, showing out. Just carefully line it up there with the edge up here. So it's even with that. And even with the other edges. There you go. And just kind of press it on there. You know, like that. There you go. Make sure it's on there. Okay. Press. And then, there you go. So what I got to do, I got to step off camera again and go drill those out. Then we'll move on to the next part. Alrighty, here we're back. Been doing some things off camera. What I did, took this piece of plastic that I showed you earlier, drilled the holes through it so you go over these bolt heads. The way I drilled those holes, using this little motor tool. Says here it's Craftsman, but same thing as a Dremel. And I had this little, so I hold it up to you, so you get the camera focused. But what it is a cone-shaped bit, kind of sandpaper type thing. And just use that to, you know, I already marked the holes on here, and just use that kind of push through, and then just kind of, you know, just loop around like that until I got the size I wanted. And then came back and painted the other side. This dark brown color, kind of a flat color. Here, grab that. What I was using was this can of so-called camouflage paint. This particular one is from Rust-Oleum, and it's supposed to basically, you know, dark brown color. And the important thing is like I said, I like the idea of a dark color here. Didn't want to go with black, but I still want a dark color that we kind of complement the colors of the scenery, but at the same time, in effect, hiding this edge of the world, kind of making it kind of blend in, not be so obvious. And like I said, the important thing is also a flat color. So you can get this most of your big box hardware stores, Walmart, things like that. Anyway, now a lot of people like to use these paints for scenery. May not be able to see it from here with the track back here. Actually, before I laid the track, I actually used this to paint the track. Just, you know, just spray it along there, and then made sure I came back and wiped the paint off the top of the rails, things like that. Now what I'm going to do now, though, is I'm going to take this sheet of plastic and go ahead and kind of glue it here on the edge here, so it looks like that. Now I'll come back later and do some more scenery work. What I'm going to do, got a hold of some basically industrial heavy-duty construction adhesive. This one has to be the Gorilla type brand. I'm sure the others will work too. And what I want to do here, pop that open. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to actually spread this on here like that. I'm going to kind of get along the edges like that. Let's see. Here we go. Kind of do like that. So it comes out pretty soft. You just kind of just smear it on there. There you go. Like that. And I've got to change hands. There you go. So I kind of just smear it on. Doesn't have to be pretty. But I want to make sure I kind of get it along the edges and just kind of do like that. And just like that. There we go. And just smear it on. There you go, like that. Important thing here is I'm using something that should be compatible with a little bit of styrofoam I have right here. Make sure it's not something to eat into it. There you go. Got a little dab will do you. There you go. Again, get on the corners. Okay, that ought to be enough. Okay, let's set that up there for a second. Now, instructions say you're actually supposed to let this stuff sit for about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna stop for maybe 5, and they'll do the next thing. Okay, we'll let this sit for a few minutes. What I'm gonna do now, go ahead and attach it to the side of the layout. Go over here, and go over here, kind of line everything up. There you go. You can see that. Grab, make sure everything's even with the bottom edge of the little framework here. Okay, then just kind of press that on there. Like that. Seems to be going on good. And kind of move it around just a bit. Make sure everything's in place. A little bit of overflow, just put it anywhere. Get it out of the way. Alrighty. Now what I do here, a little trick to come up with. Yeah, I'm trying to press this down. Some kind of roller will help with that. And, well, a little roll of duct tape should work for that. So just take it like that, hold on that, just kind of just, there you go, just roll it on there. That. Just press it on. There you go. Don't know if you can hear it over the microphone, but I can actually hear little air bubbles or pockets of air popping out as I roll this, tape across it. Okay, get that off there. There we go. Try and get it, especially up here on the top edge where I'm eventually going to put some seam. I kind of want to make sure it's on there good. Got to keep the edges sealed. Alrighty. Alright. Now let's see. Get overall pretty good. Make sure it's on there. Here we go. That's good enough. Alright. Okay. Now according to the instructions, which came with the adhesive, you're supposed to let this stuff cure for about 24 hours. So, in practice, I'll probably move on to the next stage much sooner. But that's one way of, like I said, kind of making the edge of the world a little prettier. Okay. Okay, I've gotten this installed. A little bit of plastic right there. Like I said earlier, I painted and all, so I'll give this part of the layout finished edge. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and do a little scenery right here along this strip right here. And I got the road and got the edge of the world, and I've got to fill in this spot here. Now first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take some of this blue painter's tape. There you go. Do like that. Go ahead and put a strip along here just to kind of protect this edge a little bit. If I have to, I can go back and touch it up or do some other cleaning. But I'll go ahead and just put a little bit of tape right there, kind of provide some protection for it. There you go. Like that. Now I got to go ahead and do the same thing up here. There you go. Pull off the piece long enough. And nice thing about this blue tape is sticky enough. Stay where you put it, but it's not so sticky. Hopefully it won't damage the scenery and pull it off later. So let's see. Yeah, that should do it. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna, like I said, use some basically what's this type of paper mache material to fill this in. You grab the bag right here. This particular brand, if you read that, some company called Activa. they call it celluclay. Got this at Michael's and get elsewhere. Probably get at Walmart, Amazon, things like that. And it's basically some sort of a paper-mache clay-like material. Kind of similar to what a lot of people like use Sculptamold or use plaster or whatever. When I bought this, basically that's all they had in the store at the time. But you get a whole lot, and the rest of the scenery has been done with that so far. I don't know, so far it seems to be working just fine. So what I'm going to do here, set that bag aside a minute. Got a little bit out of this bag. Got a cup here. Get a little plain water. Just pour that in there. Don't need a lot. I mean, there's only small areas. Let's do it like that. I'll probably end up with some leftovers anyway. Here, so you can pour a little of that back in. Yeah, that'll work. Put that away. Now, before I start adding, the paper mache, I thought I'd do a little experiment. Let's see. Some people like to add coloring to their plaster or paper mache or whatever. Kind of go ahead and pre-color it. I mean, this paper mache, when it goes on, it'll be kind of a grayish color, but when it dries, it's kind of white. So, it's a way to experiment and kind of speed up the process a little bit. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to take some of this paint right here. This is something from Plaid. It's their folk art brand. It's what they call it, the color is called linen. Kind of a nice warm gray color. That's actually what I use to paint the concrete road we have here, which I talked about in an earlier video. So I invite you to go back and look at that. But as an experiment, got to take a little bit and just put a little glob in there. There we go. There we go. I'll do. Here, hold on. Shake it up a bit. There you go. That should get it. And there you go. That should be enough. In theory, this should not affect the ability of the paper mache to dry. Worst case scenario, just remove it, start over again. But the proportion of this material to the water, most people seem to go with kind of 1-to-1. So basically, I'll just add enough here to kind of get a paste-like texture. There you go. Like I said, kind of just like that. Dump it in there. I'll go and get another scoop. There you go. If I have too much, I got some other scenery on the other part of the layout. I can go and use that on, not have to waste it. Okay, just add a little more. Okay. Seal this up. Now keep it in a Ziploc bag. Keep it dry. That stuff will absorb moisture out of air if you're not careful with it. Put that there. And now, I'm going to use this little spatula thing. Just going to just mix that up. There you go. Almost like making a cake. There we go. Of course, you don't want to eat this cake. There you go. Got that. It's turning that color, so that'll come out real nice. I think I may want to add a little more of the paper mache to it. As I say, it's supposed to be paper mache, probably just basically paper fibers, and like I said, make some sort of clay-like material. Okay. Set that aside. Yeah, I want to make it a little thicker. And reach down. And there we go. Okay, here. There we go. Here's another scoop. There you go. I mean, I don't want this stuff to be too runny because I want it to be, I'm going to apply it here. I want to make sure it'll stay put. Yeah. So the actual ratio may start out 1-to-1. It's probably most times kind of like maybe 2 parts, plaster or paper mache or whatever to 1 part water. And of course, you can kind of adjust that as needed. And okay, set that aside, and let's see. There we go. Mix that up. You just gotta be careful with the dust. Where I'm at right now, I've got people complain about their allergies, and I seem to be having a little issue myself, so the last thing I want to be doing is breathing in plaster dust or paper mache dust. Okay. Got that. Okay, kind of see that texture like that. So what I got to do now, very simple. I got this little space here to fill in. Just take this little glob there on the edge of the spatula and just kind of just stick it on there. And again, this is where having that tape everywhere will help. Not getting, the plaster everywhere. Oop. Okay, there, fix that. Just take that off. I have to put something down there. Here we go. Okay, that worked out. Just kind of spread it on there. Okay. This thing, there's a slight slope right here from the surface of the road down to the edge of the world. And so just kind of use this stuff to fill in that gap. Get it kind of level. There we go. Do like that. And may have some trouble getting a stick to the material here right at first, but in practice it'll do fine. There you go. And let's see. There we go. I was worried we're going to have too much. I may actually have just enough here. That's good. Just kind of spread it on. There you go. Just going to fill in that little spot there at the corner. There we go. Just keep spreading it on. I say it comes out a little lumpy, and as it dries, the surface will be a little rough. So you might not be able to use this stuff, say, like for making rock castings, or some kind of rock scenery. But for ground like this, that's actually worked quite well. Like the extra texture kind of come out with, kind of just adds to the effect. And yeah, one more. There you go. So far, I think the idea of adding the paint to the mixture seems to be working. I seem to be doing fine. Not really having any problems with it. I'll experiment with some more laser scenery. Just take that off. Let's try to smooth that out a little bit. And here, get a little more here on the at the end. There you go. Just smooth that out. There you go. Alrighty, and just a little more right there. Got a little hole right there. Nothing serious. Just kind of smooth it out. Doesn't have to be perfect. There you go. Here, just add a little more. Get a little sinkhole right there forming. There you go. Now, as far as how long this stuff will take to dry, probably get a couple hours really set up properly. But what I'm doing here, anyway, experiment. It's like, can I kind of do how much can I do here to get this scenery done in one try? Okay, just kind of keep smoothing that out. There you go. A little more. All right, looking good. Okay, and okay, so we got that part. Again, on one hand, you actually just let that sit for now and just let it dry. But what I'm going to try doing, what I usually do next with scenery is then come back with some sort of a dirt that'll sprinkle on there. Give that effect. Here. Reach out here, got a bucket here of dirt. Okay. There you go. So you can see that. Just some dirt I picked up somewhere at a construction site, actually. I kind of like that kind of tannish color. And what I'm going to do here, and using a strainer here, you can get Walmart, grocery stores, whatever. And use that, just tilt, you got to sprinkle that on there like that. And you end up with a bunch of little pieces left over, but I can do something with those later. Let's see. Pump that back. Get some more. There we go. Now the idea, of course, sprinkling this on like this, it'll bind. This dirt will bind with the paint and the paper mache. You can see some of the moisture leaching through, which is good. Okay, here, let's get a little more. So I got a bucket down here, just scooping it out. Okay, if you want to, you can actually go through this and probably run this stuff through these strainers and stuff. Go ahead and pre-strain it. I'm okay doing the extra work here, but the idea you get different sizes of these strainers. There you go. You're going to kind of get you different sizes of dirt. Okay, good. A little more. I see a spot I'd like to fill in. There you go. There you go. Looking good. Okay, what I'm going to do here, I am leaving a mess down here on the floor, but I'll clean that up later. So, let's take this thing and see if we can kind of scrape some of that off. There you go. Got to clean up the edge. There we go. And all right. And pull some off. Here, just put some more back. And here. There we go. Yeah. And get a little more. There we go. We fill that spot. There we go. Okay, got it. Here, use a little paintbrush, kind of brush some of that stuff off the tape. Brush it back onto the shoulder of the road. There you go. Now what I'm going to do here, I got some water here in a spray bottle. It's just plain water with maybe just a dash of dishwashing soap in it. Help break the tension. I'm just going to gently, just gently spray it on there. There you go. Just get a little wetter. Alrighty. And the next thing. Okay. Okay. Pardon me. I'm going to reach across the camera to get something. Here you go. What I got here is some diluted white glue. It's about half and half glue and water, again with just a dash of the soap in it. This is actually some school glue, which from what I've read is a little weaker than, say, the quote-unquote so-called white glue. So you may not want to use this, say, if you're putting together a wood structure, but for scenery it seems to work just fine. But of course, I'm going to do now, take a little bit and just dribble it on there. There we go. Here, just a little bit. There you go. Here. That's what we're trying to do. There you go. Yeah, just a little bit. You're going to make a little bit of a mess here, but that'll be easy enough to pick up. Just add that a little bit. There you go. Alrighty. This side. And hold up. Be right back. And okay, here. Just going to wipe some of that off. There you go. Alrighty. Okay. And so I just add a little more dirt. There we go. Alrighty. Now the part now all we have to do now is wait for this to dry. So otherwise we're basically done. Okay, got the scenery, got a little bit of strip scenery done right there. I may come back, put some bits of grass, other foam, stuff represent, plants growing alongside the road. But at the same time, I kind of want to keep that bare because that is kind of, the shoulder of the road. So it'll make sense that there may be a little strip of gravel right along there. Okay, so that's basically how we do it. We gotta wait for this to dry, give a chance to set up. Then I'll come back later. I'll show you the finished results. Okay, let me show you what I've been doing here. When we had finished the scenery, the last part of the video, it's still wet. Had to stop and let it dry for a little while. And what happened was, while I was drying, that paper mache material that I've been using here shrunk, whichever's correct, so that the edge of the highway was showing. So what I did is I just mixed up a little more of it. Kind of just stuck it, pasted it on there. Let that dry a little bit, came back with a little bit of paint, and then some more of the dirt that's sifted on there, that kind of thing. And then came back and put some Woodland Steenix ground up foam rubber along here, real fine stuff, kind of simulate grass. I think it was their earth blend. Then came back with some more coarse stuff, burnt grass and some dark green, like that. Also just a little bits of yellow here, kind of add some highlights. And even found some old lichen down the bottom box and just broke that up and kind of just glued it on there, kind of simulate some bushes. So that what you got here is, maybe a highway somewhere out in country, edge of town, where the grass does grow up right up to the edge of the freeway, the edge of the road. Because originally I thought about just leaving this plain, just letting it be dirt, so it looked like, gravel shoulder. But after thinking about it for a little while, I just said, nah, just going to put grass all along there. That's pretty typical, pretty normal. And, what you got here is a scene where the highway department needs to get out here and do some mowing. And while I was at it, I also did some touch-up work on the concrete highway right here. It kind of a little messed up while doing some of this other scenery. You might remember I had some blue tape taped along the edge here to try and protect it. Well, when I pulled that tape up, some of the highway came up with it. Okay. The highway itself is made out of mat board, and when it got wet, the top layer kind of came off in a couple places. So I just went back, got out my paint, the warm gray color I like to use for concrete, just painted on another layer, and then went over that with a black wash, and then came back with a brush and carefully painted lines on some places here on the road to simulate where they've been doing repairs, where they poured liquid tar into some cracks there in the road to kind of seal it up from water getting in. So anyway, that's what I did here. So that's finished product. Well, I hope you enjoyed that trip down the model railroad line. Talking about this, how I did this scenery right here. Got some plans for some more videos. Been getting some good response from the videos I've already posted, so I thank you for that. Like I said, I got some plans here, do some more little work here on the scenery right here. So I got to do some more along this edge and do some other things. And of course, other subjects, anything that, strikes, gets my attention, think would be an interesting video. And of course, where your feedback can give me about what you'd like to see me do. So again, thanks for watching. Be sure, like and subscribe, the routine. And also check out, if you look around here somewhere, there should be a link to a video where I talk about how I did this concrete road. Get more details how I did that. So again, thanks for watching, and tune back soon when we'll take another trip along the model railroad line. So in the meantime, y'all have a good day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Casey Jones, mounted in the cabin, Casey Jones, orders in his hand, Casey Jones, mounted in the cabin, and he took his last trip into the promised land.